Hi, my name is Jonathan, and I have 6 months to live. Well, not really, but maybe. Who knows? Today I'm going to continue with my book, The Tree of Happiness. In the previous video, I talked about the financial bucket. Today I'm going to talk about the health bucket. Your health bucket represents your physical and mental health. It's divided into two compartments because physical health and mental health are equally important. The size of your health bucket is literally your lifespan, your life expectancy, your limitations on how long you will live. And what you have inside that bucket is your quality of life. So the fuller your bucket is, the more high quality of life you have and the happier you are. The size of the bucket is your expectations. Unlike the financial bucket, where your expectations can be infinite, it can be very large. The health bucket is limited because we are humans. Our life expectancy can only be a certain amount of years. And some of us are lucky enough to get to 120 or even 130 years, but those are rare. Most of us fall in the 80 and 90 year range. Our size of our health bucket is not only determined by our species as a human, but it's also determined by genetics passed on from our parents. So some of us have better genes that have larger potential buckets, and some of us have smaller potential buckets. That combined with the environment that we live in and our daily decisions will determine our actual bucket potential size. So with that said, I'm going to talk deeply more about the different types of holes in our bucket. One type of hole is the cost of living hole, or the cost of time. This is permanent in all of us, and this hole drains away as we live because we are set to die as a species, as a person. What we can do is change the size of this hole to slow down the aging process, to slow down life's drain. The next type of hole is the inheritance hole, or the genetics hole. This hole is passed on from our parents and ancestors. They are genetic diseases like cancer, heart disease, etc. I have such a hole called psoriasis, and that's passed on genetically, and it didn't get expressed until I was 20 something, but it was there all along. So many of us have these genetic holes that we either know about them or we don't, and they get expressed either inevitably through time or they get expressed through our decisions. Some of us have cancer holes, and they don't sometimes never get expressed if we are lucky enough to be in the right environment and or to do all the right things. And sometimes they get expressed just for being in the wrong environment, and also they get expressed because we do things that agitate the holes, like excessive smoking, drinking, drug abuse, even unhealthy eating. So these holes are genetic holes, and we can't do anything about them either. But we do know that they are there, and we should be aware that they are there. And it's best to try to find out through your family and ancestors how likely you are to have certain types of genetic holes, and try to stay a healthy lifestyle according to those potential genetic holes that you have. If you have cancer in your family, it's probably best to stay away from the cancer-causing activities. If you have heart disease, then you probably want to try staying away from eating food that agitates the heart. So that's the genetics hereditary hole. The next type of health hole is called the trade-off holes. Just like the financial bucket, trade-off holes are decisions that we know hurt our health slightly, but we still do it because we benefit in the other buckets as well. So if you're drinking socially, you are filling your relationship bucket. You're filling your hobbies and pleasure bucket, but you are creating a hole in your health bucket. That is a trade-off hole in the health bucket. There's many examples of trade-off holes, and trade-off holes are necessary for our happiness because we do need to fill other buckets when they're low. And when we fill the other buckets, sometimes it causes a hole in our health bucket. The next type of hole is called the trap hole. Just like in the financial bucket, trap holes are our decisions in the health bucket that is not a fair trade-off. They are when you fill your pleasure bucket slightly, but it causes a bigger hole in your health bucket. It's when you fill your relationship bucket slightly, but causes a big hole in your health bucket. Examples are excessive alcohol abuse, excessive drugs, excessive smoking. Anything done excessively, basically, is a trap hole because it creates a larger leak than it is beneficial. Trap holes trap us to have small health buckets, just like financial trap holes trap us to have small financial buckets. So to fill up your health bucket, we must consider all of these holes and plug up the most unnecessary ones, the trap hole ones. Now I'm going to talk about possible things, agents that we do, things that causes the leaks and the holes. One is lack of exercise. Because time drains our hole, we must exercise to reduce the life drain. We must keep our body active and healthy. The next thing we should consider is sleep. Lack of sleep and irregular sleep is important because they drain our hole faster. We need sleep to fill our health bucket, so lack of sleep does the opposite. The next thing we should consider is eating, because eating is essential. We always have to make decisions when we eat. There are decisions that help us eat healthy, and then there are decisions that help us eat unhealthy. Unhealthy eating, irregular eating, causes holes in our buckets. There are many other factors in our daily lives that will either be beneficial or create holes to become wider. Now let's talk about how to fill the buckets, how to fill our health bucket. To fill the health buckets, all we have to do is think about all of the ways that the holes can be there and we just do the opposite. For instance, not getting enough exercise is a way for us to have holes. So to fill up the bucket is to get a lot of regular exercise. Same as sleep. To reverse the holes of sleep, we just sleep better and sleep the appropriate amount of time. The next thing is eating. To counter the holes of bad eating, we have to eat healthy, eat regularly, and eat correctly based on our body type. Also, things that we can do to help fill up the buckets are meditation, vitamins, even social activities can help fill our health bucket, because social activities can create positive chemicals in our brains. So these are all possible ways to fill the bucket. Please note that I am not an expert on how to fill your buckets. I am definitely not an expert on how to correctly fill your buckets, meaning I don't know the best ways to exercise, the best ways to eat, the best ways to sleep. I leave those to the experts. Just like in the financial bucket, I'm not an expert on how to make money, on what jobs to have, or how to create sources of income best. But all I can do is show you what to think about and what to start doing. Then you go to those experts and you read those books on how to improve your income, how to exercise properly, how to eat properly, sleep better, etc. All that I want to do is point out that we must take action. We must be aware that the holes are there in our buckets, and we have to know what types of holes we have. Plug up the most important holes to plug up, which are the trap holes. Things that we do that don't benefit us as much as the cost of our health. Then go to the experts and look for ways to fill up your health bucket. If you need to see a psychiatrist to help with your mental health bucket, then you have to do that. So please take from this video the message that our health bucket can be filled faster if we are aware of what the holes are and if we take actions to plug up the holes. If you do that every day, then you will see that your health bucket will get fuller and larger, and you will get closer to your maximum potential, your maximum longevity. I will talk about the other buckets in the next videos. Until then, please stay safe and healthy.